and they was calling this man transphobic, and I was like,
strong word.
That is a strong word. And, you know that being phobic against communities is get up out of here.
Correct.
So I was like, I wonder why they saying that. And he's on, you know who Gloria Velez is?
Yeah, throwback, legendary video vixen. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And she got a podcast, and he was on there.
Okay.
And he said some things.
Let's listen.
Like women,
Go, you ready?
parents have almost forgotten what the role of a parent is.
Amen.
It's like, okay,
Lost control.
if your little boy comes to you and says, "Daddy, I want to be a girl," and you just let him rock with that, you just let him.
Right.
He's 5.
Right. And where did he get that
If
from?
you let this 5-year-old boy decide to eat candy all day, he's gonna do that.
Exactly.
Like when did it become a good idea to let a 5-year-old, let a 6-year-old, let a 12-year-old make a life-changing decision for themselves?
Right.
When did that happen?
Right.
Like I don't understand that. I don't get that.
And to medicate these young kids that are 5, 6, growing up and knowing that it affects their brain, it affects their organs, it makes them sick, but they're not allowed to do drugs, they're not allowed to do alcohol.
Right.
We can medicate
He
them.
can't drive a car yet, but he can decide his sex.
Right, right. What sexual orientation, and he can cut up his pee-pee, and that, to me, that makes no sense
And
whatsoever.
so I don't know if this is true, but I heard a rumor that they either passed or are trying to pass a law in LA that states if your child comes to you and asks to do some of these things and you say no, they can take your kid from you.
Yeah, that's true. Just passed in California.
That makes.
I ain't hear about that part.
I ain't heard that shit.
I ain't heard about that part.
It don't sound like they was doing a lot of fact checking.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard a rumor.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
that's kind of
passed
crazy.
justified.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah.
to rewind it back, I mean, do you agree or disagree?
I mean, I don't know what he's really saying for real. To be honest, like, what is he saying? What did you get from that?
What I got from that is, all right. So what we've seen as in late. Let's just take D Wade and his now daughter.
Mm-hmm.
That point in time, I think his daughter was maybe like 12 or something, young age, very young age.
Yeah.
And now saying, hey, I feel like I'm now a girl. And going forward and saying, okay, if that's what you feel like, let's go into that, and we're going to feed into that, and now you're that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think from him saying, he's like, hey, it's now being pushed like, hey, whatever your child wants to do, you should let them do it. If they feel this way, push it. Like, you know, when he emphasized, hey, if you let a 5-year-old eat candy all day, they will do it. You know, so there's like no structure. There's no like not necessarily discipline, but there's no guidance of saying, hey, maybe this shouldn't be done or this shouldn't be done. Like, you know, hey, you may want to give your child some juice, but you can't feed them juice all day long.
Yeah.
You know, there's like a balance of certain things. So I think taking that and saying like, hey, you don't let a child make their decision until they're old enough and their mind is developed to make that decision.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like these things, certain things are life-changing decisions. You know, I mean, shit, eating candy is a life-changing decision. You fuck around and you start eating candy too young, you get diabetes.
Fact. Yeah.
You know,
That's the teeth.
exactly.
Yeah.
So things like that, I feel like I kind of agree, and like in a sense like that, where you know when kids nowadays, kids are young and they're just like maybe influenced or see certain things, and now, hey, I want to do that too, and you're like, cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a fine line because I don't know the facts behind what he was saying as far as like the law, as far as
Oh
like,
yeah, I can't even speak on that shit. That shit sounds kind of crazy.
5, 6 years old and them getting medicated. I ain't never heard that. I don't
Yeah.
know what that process.
Oh no,
is.
so
yeah.
I was hearing somebody else talk about that. That part isn't true. I mean, of course, like when you get to a certain age, they do start the process of feeding you like the hormone pills, and then like when you get, I believe it's like 18, you can then do the sex change.
Process surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think if it's going to be something that's going to become as normalized as that is, and it should just be built out into something that has like a certain requirement behind it. So like you said, for example, like if you can't drive till you're 16 or whatever age in certain states, then it should be that same thing with if you want to change sex, you should have to wait to this age, you got to go through this process. You gotta drive, you gotta pass the driver's test, all this type of shit. So
Definitely.
it should be treated as that. As far as like a little kid coming to you and saying some shit, I agree with the point. Like, just because a kid wants to do something don't mean they should be allowed to do it off the strength of that child doesn't have a fully developed brain.
Correct.
To even understand like how that's going to affect them in the long run, or is this something that, I mean, there's a bunch of shit I wanted to do when I was 5. I thought I was going to be an NFL player.
Facts.
I thought I was going to be Michael Vick. It's a bunch of shit where the older you get, the stuff you want changes. So.
Yeah, your whole mindset change. You start coming into, like, reality starts to kind of set in. You know, when you're in 5, like, you know, look how many things, like, your parents probably told you that wasn't real when you were 5. Look at the shit that we probably seen and thought on, like, TV that we thought was real. And then we realize we get older, we're like, oh, shit, this is fake. You know, shit like that. So I think it's like, you know, as a kid, you have a wide array of an imagination. So I mean, like, you know, so you may, you know, kids be like, man, I want to be a dog. You know.
Yeah.
You see, we see people doing that for real.
For real talk, it's a lot of
shit like that.
I definitely think they pushing the boundaries to see how far they can go with everything. I see them trying to make like pedophilia like a certain type of preference as opposed to like a sickness or a crime. Like these people just like people this age type shit. And I don't want to put those in the same ballpark, but I'm saying in the sense of like people are going extreme to see transracial. I mean, we've seen cases of that. Rachel, whatever her name, Dozier or some shit.
I mean, you got even people saying like I've seen something where somebody was saying how, you know, he identifies as being a 6-year-old.
Yeah, I've seen that too. Yeah.
Like, how do you identify as that? You know.
But I mean, that's why I get his point, because it's the same mindset of like, well, if we had people that want to basically identify as something that's pretty it's pretty structured and defined in societal norms, then what is the difference between somebody applying that same logic to something else? So if they can identify as a woman and they're biologically not, then why can't I identify as, you know what I'm saying, a white man or an Asian woman?
Right. I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So it will be that same logic behind it. But I could see where if I had somebody in my family, if I had more knowledge in that, I could see how they would say that could come off as transphobic, because you're using these extreme examples that may not be, and you're using examples that may not be truthful to make your point. Yeah, to make your point. And that's when you start getting a little sticky and fuzzy with type shit. When you
slope right there,
making up shit.
Oh shit.
Because that's when like it'll be some shit a white man talk about. Well, how can racism exist then when we got the richest black man of all time, and it's like, well, now you're speaking in shit that's
of course
you're not necessarily educated in, and you're using that to downplay the reality of something else. So
agreed.
I do get that aspect of people calling him transphobic. I think he could have worded it a little bit better, but I understand his points.
His point. Yeah, I see what he was trying to do. I think maybe just like the knowledge and just like the wording and how you preference thing. Yeah. You just kind of, you know, you might want to take a step back. But you know, I mean, you get a lot of these things where like you get a lot of these people where they're just simply on camera and there's no like before that, you just happen to have a conversation. Like me and you just we have a conversation. It's not like we don't have a script sitting here and say, hey, we're gonna read this, we're gonna do X, Y, Z. Yeah. It's like, yo, off the top, it's just like, oh, you asked me a question. Oh shit, well fuck that. You're like, oh, damn it.
Exactly. Shit. But I also think we gotta start, I mean, it's different though, because that's the thing about now we got microphones and cameras everywhere too, so and people know that. So I think you should only get that type of leeway when you're literally having a conversation, somebody's like recording you unknowingly, because we all talk different shit. We could be talking about our damn wife, our mom, whatever, and it's gonna sound a lot different than us talking to them in person.
I feel like there should be like leeway on both sides, because you know there's some times where like
the cameras record.
Yeah, because I mean, the only reason I say that is because at the end of the day, people are human. People are gonna make mistakes. Ain't nobody perfect. So like, sometimes your first thought, isn't the right thing. Yeah. Sometimes it is. You know what I mean? Just saying, like, literally, like a car accident is a car accident for a reason. I didn't intentionally just run my car into you. Sometimes we make mistakes.
But also with that, if you ever took a defensive driving course, they teach you
Oh, I
that
did.
they do not call it car accidents. They call them car wrecks
They do. You're
because people aren't paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
So they're causing these things by not actually, you know what I'm saying?
No, I definitely agree with
it's the
that.
same-
Yeah, it's on that same premise. It's just like, because, we do make mistakes, though.
Yeah, we
It
do make
happens.
mistakes for sure, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, everything in life doesn't have an edit button.
That's a fact.
And so sometimes, like, sometimes you can't take back what you say, because I don't believe in necessarily taking back anything I say. I'm more so just kind of learn and maybe apologize for what I say and, like, maybe how I word it. But you can't take back anything you do. I can't go back in time. And so,
That's a fact, yeah. I agree with that. I think that's a good point. I think you made a good point, because I purposely, I'm not saying things that I don't have some type of meaning, whether it be a joke or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not necessarily taking it back, but I do, like, I should have said that in a way that would have been communicated differently.
Yeah, exactly.
Type shit.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Definitely don't try to come off and be like, if I say, like, like as friends, we say some wild shit to each other.
Yeah.
But then it'd be that time that you never know, like, how your day was, and now you take it offensive.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you be like, oh shit, wait, hey. I don't take back what I said to you, but how it was worded, how I said it, and how it was taken, my fault. I apologize about that.
Yeah.
And so, I feel like that should be like, people should be given a little leeway to be like, hey, all right, I got some information about it. I went back and heard what I said. I realized what I said. All right, my apology. But now, you double down. Like, there's people that double down on shit. Then you be like, well, shit, all right, cool. Now you just, hey.
I mean, that's how you, I also think people should feel how they would like to feel, you know what I'm saying?
I agree with that too.
But I do think you gotta be able to acknowledge the way I feel is gonna be offensive to some people, and I think it should be okay.
Well, that's why
you gotta
I
be willing
agree.
to, you know what I'm saying, to bear those consequences.
I do.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
agree. I feel like the world is just too sensitive. Because now you're almost forcing people to have a specific opinion of the masses. Like, everybody should think this way, and nobody should think that way. Like, we don't all agree with the way of living of everybody, the way that people do things, the way people look, whatever. Cool. Everything isn't right. Like people, that racism happens.
Yeah.
That's not right. I can't make you not feel like I can't be mad at somebody for hating me because I can feel some type of way, and they gonna feel some type of way, but I can't say that you're wrong.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's your own opinion. But I feel like people are just so sensitive, like everything has to be the same. Like, everybody must think this exact same way. It's like, that's what made the world to begin with, because everybody had difference in opinions, difference in thought.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, I definitely think it's okay to disagree with some shit without being labeled as this hateful thing or I'm against this group. I think you can just
phobic or
disagree.
something.
We don't gotta agree with everybody's lifestyle. That's for certain now.
Yeah.
I don't know Ne-Yo's stance. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he was making it more clear. If he's gonna clarify. If he,
Oh no, he had a response video to that too, but yeah,
I think he doubled down.
he definitely did double down.
In a sense of like his opinion.
He definitely did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he emphasized the fuck out of his opinion too.
He did.
I don't want us to be on that side of Ne-Yo, so I don't we ain't phobic of nobody. I just want to.
I mean, yeah. However people want to live their life is their decision. You know what I'm saying? That's the bottom line. So.
Agree. Now.